It's time for another Dice Tower review with Tim Jennette.
Hey everyone, this is Tim the Metal Meeple, and today we're going to take a look at Samurai Spirit. This is a game by Antoine Bauza. It's put up by Funforge, and it was just released at Gen Con 2014. It's a cooperative board game for 1 to 7 players. It takes about 20 to 45 minutes, which I find is pretty accurate. Never played it with one player, but all the other combinations varies within that range. And basically, each player is going to play a samurai protecting the village and from the Onimusha clan who's coming in trying to destroy the farmland and all the peasants. So let's take a look at the components. I'll kind of explain how to play the game, and we'll come back and I'll tell you what I think. Samurai Spirit has 4 modes of difficulty. You've got easy, normal, hard, and heroic. Good luck with that. In any setup, you're pretty much going to have this village board here, and you've got 6 of these farmsteads that you're going to be protecting, and you've got 3 of these family members that you're going to be protecting. What you're going to be protecting them from are the raiders of the Onimusha clan, and you've got a deck here that has numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're going to shuffle 7 of these per player into a raider deck and place them on the right side of the board. Now, along with your samurai buddies who's going to accompany you, you have these little barricades here that's going to help protect from the raiders. They're not necessary to win, but they do slow them down a bit. Each player is going to either select at random or choose which samurai they want to be. There's 7 of them, obviously, 1 for every player that can play the game. And you get a awesome looking samurai meeple. Look at that. That's awesome. That goes on 0. You're also going to get a support token for your character that matches your talent symbol up here. More on those later. And you're just going to begin the game. You're going to play over 3 rounds. Each round consists of multiple player turns, so you can go a few times before the round ends. And as long as at the end of the game, you have at least 1 farm and 1 family member, you'll win as a team. During your player's turn, you're going to go through 2 phases. The first phase is to apply any penalty of a raider that's shown on the right-hand side. Some don't have them. However, as you get new raiders, they cover up the old penalties, and only the topmost card's going to apply. So in this case, this penalty would go off. We'll talk about those more later. But after you apply your penalty, you're going to have a choice of 3 actions, but you can only do 1. Now, most of the time, you're going to choose to fight. And when you choose fight, you're going to draw the top card of a raider deck, and you're going to choose to either confront it, placing it on the right side of your board, or you're going to defend against it, placing it on the left. If you choose to fight, you're going to place the raider on the right-hand side of your board and increase your combat bar by the number over here. So this is going to take you up 2. As you get guys out, you're going to go farther up. And the idea is you're trying to soak up as much damage from raiders as you can to draw the raider deck down to 0. And as you soak up enough damage, you're going to go higher and higher. And the idea is you want to hit the max number you have. So in Garobi's case here, he has a 9. When he hits 9, he's going to activate this Ki power. And you're also going to destroy the bottom card over here. And that's going to go in the discard, allowing you to drop back down and soak up more damage. Now, as you're taking on raiders, you got to be careful that the total battle power of all the raiders never causes you to exceed your maximum Ki value. That'll place you on this flame here, and that will instantly destroy a barricade. And upon your next turn, after you apply the raider's penalty, your only option is going to be to pass, which will take you out of the round out of that round. Somebody on the Board Game Geek said that this game kind of reminds them of Samurai Blackjack because you're trying to say, hit me, gain some fight, and you're going to back up and you want to hit that 21, so to speak, without going over. And you're going to use players are going to use their talents and their support abilities to cause them to go up and down on this bar, constantly destroying cards and staying in the battle until the raider deck is depleted. And that is pretty much the main mechanism of the game. And that's what causes it to be really difficult, is utilizing those abilities efficiently and never going above that Ki value. The other thing you can do is defend. In order to defend, the raider that you drew has to have one of these 3 icons at the top. So either the house or the farm, the doll, or the hat. And when you get one of these, you're going to place it on the left-hand side of your board next to these symbols. And the reason you want to do that is because at the end of the round, for every player that doesn't have one of these symbols, they're going to suffer a penalty. And while they're on the left-hand side of the board, none of the rest of the card matters, only the symbol at the top right. The second action that you have to choose from is to support. And basically, you're going to take your support token, which matches your talent, and give it to a fellow samurai. And that allows them to have access to your talent on their turn. At the end of their turn, they give it back to you. However, there is a price to pay for doing support. You take the top card of the samurai deck, and you don't look at it, but you put it face down on the intruder pile. And we'll talk about that later. The last action that you have is to pass. When you choose to pass, or must pass for some reason, you're going to tip your samurai over to show that you've passed. All the other players will continue taking turns until everyone has passed or the raider deck is clear. While defending the village, your character, or your samurai, can suffer damage. When you suffer damage, you're going to take a wound marker and place it on your board. What's really cool is when you suffer a second wound, you're going to flip over and activate your animal spirit, which pretty much everybody in our group unanimously calls it beast mode. Activating your beast mode. So your guy goes super crazy. Not only do you increase your total ki, or your battle bar over here, this Groby's goes from 9 to 12, allowing you to soak up more guys, your ki ability down at the bottom actually gets better. If you suffer another wound, you place it on your board, and unfortunately if you suffer a fourth wound, your character dies and everyone loses the game. So a round is going to come to an end when either all players have passed, or have been forced to pass, or if the raider deck over here is depleted. Now, as you're playing the round, you're going to take these raiders and you're going to put them on your character board as defense or confronting. Sometimes they'll get discarded over here once you activate your ki, and then other penalties and things will put them onto the intruder deck here. After that, once the round's ended, you're going to look at your character card and first determine what happens. So for every player that has not defended against a hat symbol, they're going to suffer a wound. This could kill a character and end the game. The second thing you're going to check is the farmhouses. So everybody who hasn't defended against a farmhouse is going to destroy one of these farmhouses and remove that. The last thing is the doll. For every family member that you haven't protected against, you're going to lose one of these family members at random, which is really bad because you do get a break from them after you've removed one of them. The reason you're removing it at random is because they have little abilities on the bottom. So this one will randomly heal a character of a wound. This one's going to place or discard the top card of the intruder deck, and the final one is going to build a barricade. After you've done that, you're going to take a look at the intruder deck here, and you're going to flip them over. And the only symbol you're worried about are the flames at the bottom right. In this case, nothing happens. In this case, nothing happens. In this case, you have a flame. When you have a flame, you're going to remove one of these barricades from the board. And then in this case, a flame happens, you're going to remove another barricade. The reason you don't want too many intruders is because if you don't have any barricades to burn, the farmlands go. So you could quickly lose all your farmlands in one turn. And on top of that, you can't just pass because all the players just can't pass and move on to the next round because if this deck's not empty, whatever's left, all of it goes over to the intruders. So you really need to soak up as many cards as possible during your turn. When you move on to another round, you're going to collect every one of the discarded cards, all the intruders that you revealed, and all the raiders next to the players' boards, and shuffle them into a new stack. But before you do that, you're going to shuffle in some lieutenants. These are 5s. They have you're going to shuffle 1 per player into the deck. And then at the end of the second round and going into the third round, you're actually going to get some bosses. These are the strongest ones. You do get 1 per player, so you can see how it quickly gets harder and harder each round. These bosses also have dual symbols, and they just get really nasty. And if you happen to end the third round with at least one family member alive and one farmhouse standing, you win the game as a group. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these penalties now that you know how to play the game. In this case, at the beginning of your turn, you're going to suffer a wound. You got one here that will destroy a barricade, and anytime you have to destroy a barricade and you don't have one that's going to destroy a farm, these two, this card right here and right here, are going to, at the beginning of your turn, immediately draw a raider, and the person to your left or right, immediate left or right, has to fight it. When that happens, they fight it, and then it moves back onto your turn. In this case, you're going to take the top card of the Raider deck and place it face down on the intruder pile for the end of the round. This one's not going to let you defend, so if you have that face up and you happen to draw the one doll or farmhouse or hat that you need, you can't place it on the left-hand side of your board. And the final one is, you cannot support. You can't take the support action. Now, you can still benefit from the support tokens that somebody has given you. Even nastier are the bosses. Some of the bosses have dual abilities or dual penalties, such as this one right here. He's going to cause you to burn down 2 barricades, which again can, translate into 2 farms if you don't have them. This one's going to cause you not to be able to support and take a wound. You can't defend. This symbol here, which is new, is going to shuffle one of the discarded raiders that you've removed from the game back into the raider pile. Kind of makes that kind of bad. This one's going to destroy one of the defense cards that you have. So one of the cards on the left side of your board that you're defending against for your hat and your farmhouse and your doll. And this one's going to cause you not to be able to support or be supported. So you can't activate any of your talents on your character that you have or any of the support tokens that people have given you. And this one gives you a wound. And you can see some of these. This is one of the promo card. He just picks up 2 raiders, pushes one to the left and right of you. That can be very brutal if they're not prepared for it. This is 2 intruders. And the final one here, he forces you to take the pass action, removing you from that round. All is not lost, however, because your characters have some cool talents and key abilities that they're going to activate during their turn to mitigate these penalties and the harsh raiders who are invading your city or your village. Garobi here, during his turn or his support action as he gives it out, which is pretty much any character they can give out their support action, he's going to be immune to the penalty of any 2, 4, or 6 characters, so the penalty does not apply. The same for this guy. He's immune to 1, 3, and 5. Anytime this character draws a 2, 4, or a 6, he can immediately pass it to the person on his left and right, which is really cool, especially if the person to your right needs a 4. They didn't, maybe they drew something and they need a 4 now. You happen to draw a 4, you can pass it their way and activate their key because their combat bar gets full. This is the same thing with 1, 3, and 5s. Kyuzo here, when he draws a raider that matches another raider on his combat line, say he has a 2 out here and he draws a 2, he gets to discard that 2. This guy here, when he draws a card he can choose, or a raider, he can choose to put it on the bottom of his deck instead of fighting it. Now he has to fight the next one, but that's pretty cool. And the last guy, he can fight twice during his turn, which is pretty cool because if he draws a really high guy, maybe like a 5 or a 6, and has a hat, he could put it on his left and then fight again and put a weak one on this side. So, and on top of that, whenever you activate your Ki, your power get down here, you can choose to activate it as well. So this character would automatically remove 2 of the cards of the Raider deck and put them in the discard. Now, each character also has their Beast mode, in which the power gets stronger. So in this case, he would take the top 3 cards. This character would take the top 2 cards of the Intruder deck, put them in discard. Same thing on his Beast mode, which he would do 3 cards and remove them. This character builds a barricade. Whenever he's in Beast mode and he activates Ki, he's going to build a barricade and heal somebody. This guy, whenever he hits it, he's going to take the bottom, the face up card that has the penalty, essentially, of any character and move it to any other character, which is pretty cool. And when he's in Beast mode, he can activate that twice. This character, when he does this, he's going to be able to pass out his support ability, and then support ability and build a barricade. This guy is going to allow you to look at the top 2 Raider cards and then put them back in any order, which is really cool for stacking the deck for the next 2 players. In this case, it's 3 cards. So the next 3 players can make that's a game changer right there. Last guy, when he activates his Ki, he's going to destroy the last card on somebody's combat line, and when he's in beast mode, he's going to destroy 2 cards, or he's going to actually activate it twice, and he can choose 2 different people. So anyway, let's tell you what I think. This game is awesome. It's really, really hard, however, and I think you're going to lose a lot. And by the 3rd round, it's just the game's beating you down, and there's just so many cards. You have to play so efficiently that it's kind of hard, but it's really fun. And it's a rewarding experience when you win. So, which we haven't yet, but that's cool. Which is interesting because we win a lot of these co-op games, and this one seems to be really hard. What I really like about it is it's really fast. Once the players have played it multiple times, I mean, the turns just go so quick. That could be a problem though, because people start making hasty decisions and grabbing cards off the stack and just playing them, and you don't have a lot of time to talk to them and be like, well, is that the best option? You should have supported this guy or whatever. Which goes on to say that I like the fact that you won't ever have one person who's kind of dictating everybody's turns, and I think that happens a lot in co-op games, where you got one person saying, if you do this, and you do this, then I'll do this and we can win. And it's kind of like, well, that was cool, but we like to play the game too and make our own decisions and stuff, so suggestions. And with the luck of the draw, you got a lot of people who can say, I think we should do this, and a lot of people's opinions are valid because it's like, well, what happens if this comes out, or this comes out, or this type of penalty? So I think it's really cool. We did run into a few rules issues with the talents and the supports and how they interacted with some of the bosses, but thankfully Antoine got on the geek and explained that, gave his answer. So we were playing it right, but I can see a lot of people how they may have not been playing it right, and it makes it harder if you weren't. But otherwise, if you like co-op games, this game is awesome. For the price and how small it is and everything, it packs a lot of punch, and I definitely recommend it. Samurai Spirit. Until next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.